At 2 a.m., he spooned warm soup to his father's trembling lips. Outside, the city slept, but inside that small apartment, time stood still. You won't find his name on the news or his face on a billboard, but every night he performs a quiet act of love that no one sees. This isn't a story about law or duty. It's about what remains when love is all that's left to give. If you believe kindness still exists in this world, stay a while, because this story might stay with you. I first met Michael 6 years ago when I moved into the small apartment across the hall. The building was old, walls yellowed by years, a faint smell of detergent always hanging in the air. Every morning around 6, I'd hear the same sound, the squeak of a wheelchair rolling down the corridor. It was Michael pushing his father toward the sunlight spilling in from the stairwell window. The old man always had a blanket over his knees and a folded newspaper he couldn't really read anymore. Michael would park the chair right where the light hit and whisper, "There, Dad, you can see the morning now." They sat like that, in silence, just father and son, framed by the slow light of another working day. Michael works the night shift at a delivery warehouse outside the city. He leaves home every evening at 6, wearing the same faded blue jacket, a thermos of coffee tucked under his arm. He doesn't drive. The car was sold years ago to pay for hospital bills. He takes the bus, 2 transfers, 90 minutes each way. When his shift ends at dawn, he returns to a home that's always waiting, a father who needs help to bathe, to eat, to remember. He washes his hands, takes a breath, and begins the morning routine. Warm water, soap, gentle hands. "Dad, close your eyes for a second," he says, rinsing the shampoo from thinning grey hair. "I used to hate baths when I was little," his father mumbles. Michael smiles. "I remember. You used to chase me with the towel." Sometimes his father laughs. Sometimes he forgets why they're laughing at all. Then breakfast, oatmeal with honey, a bit of milk. Michael feeds him slowly, patient as a clock. Between each spoonful, the old man whispers stories from long ago, fragments of a life slipping further into the fog. "Your mother, she used to hum when she cooked," he says. Michael nods. "Yeah, I remember, Dad. But she's been gone for nearly 10 years. I've lived across from them long enough to witness the rhythm of their days. Never once have I heard Michael shout, not when his father spilled soup all over the floor, not when he forgot to turn off the stove, not even that one night when he mistook his son for a stranger and locked himself in the bathroom. Michael simply knocked, waited, and said softly, "It's me, Dad. You're safe. Come out when you're ready." It took 20 minutes before the door opened. When it did, Michael was still standing there, calm, gentle, his eyes tired but kind. That was the night I realized some kinds of strength make no noise at all. Michael's life runs on borrowed hours. He sleeps 3, maybe 4 hours a day. Bills pile up like storm clouds. The insurance doesn't cover everything. He hasn't had a vacation in 8 years. He doesn't complain. When I asked him once, don't you ever feel trapped?" He smiled faintly. "Sometimes, but I remind myself, he carried me once too." There's a picture in their living room, a younger Michael sitting on his father Ash's shoulders, both laughing, eyes squinting under the summer sun. The photo is fading, but the memory hasn't. Then came the night I'll never forget. It was raining, the kind of cold rain that seeps through your bones. The elevator had broken down again, and I heard Michael's voice echoing from the stairwell. "Dad, hold on. Just hold on, please." I opened my door and saw him, arms trembling, carrying his father down 4 flights of stairs. The old man's head rested against his shoulder, his face pale. Each step looked like a mountain. By the time we reached the ground floor, the ambulance lights painted the wet concrete red and blue. Michael laid his father onto the stretcher, soaked to the skin. He held his father's hand until the paramedics shut the doors. Later that night, when he came home alone, I found him sitting by the window, still in his drenched clothes, his hands shaking. He said quietly, "He told me not to be late for work." "What?" I asked. "Right before the ambulance left. He looked at me and said, 'Don't be late for work, son.' Can you believe that? Even now, he's still worried about me." His voice cracked. He covered his face and sobbed, Not loud, not wild, just quiet, like rain against glass. And I didn't know what to say. So I just sat there with him, listening to the rain, the ticking clock, the sound of a man trying to hold the world together with tired hands. His father stayed in the hospital for a week. Michael never left his side. He slept in a chair beside the bed, head resting on folded arms, his hands still clutching the old man's wrist like an anchor. The nurses told him to go home, but he refused. He said he was afraid that if he left, his father might wake up and forget him completely. Every morning he wiped his father's face with a warm towel and whispered, "You're doing great, Dad. You'll be home soon." Sometimes the old man didn't respond. Sometimes he murmured something incoherent, but one morning he looked up, confused but calm, and said, "You look tired, Michael. Did you eat?" Michael laughed through tears. "Not yet, Dad. I was waiting for you." That day he finally went home, just to shower, shave, and pack a few clothes before returning to the hospital. A week later, his father was discharged. We watched as Michael pushed the wheelchair back up the same squeaky hallway, this time slower, gentler. He looked older somehow, not in years, but in weight, the kind of age that comes from loving too much for too long. That evening he tucked his father into bed, adjusted the blanket, and turned off the lights. The only sound was the steady rhythm of breathing. Two lives moving in quiet harmony. He sat there for hours, not saying a word, just listening. Outside, the city hummed, unaware that somewhere inside it, love was quietly doing its work. One morning, I asked him how he managed, the work, the bills, the endless nights. He shrugged. "It's not easy. Some days, I feel like I'm fading too. But then I remember how he used to wait up for me when I was young, sitting on that same couch, pretending to read the paper until I got home safe." He smiled, his eyes distant. Maybe this is just how the world stays balanced, one generation carrying the next. He told me that before his mother died, she made him promise one thing. "Take care of him," she said. "He'll forget things, but don't ever let him forget love." Michael kept that promise, every single day since. He reminds us that true strength isn't about being seen, it's about showing up. It's about quiet patience and a love that asks for nothing in return. If this story moved you, please share it. Let's remind the world that heroes like Michael are everywhere, quietly holding it all together. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe for more stories that matter.